Great afternoon, great afternoon. Thank you for joining Simply Shift with Kashonna, the talk show. We are so excited about you taking this afternoon to get your afternoon boost. Listen, I am so super excited about this show today. I'm always super excited about my shows because I just think I have phenomenal guests that are ready to not just equip you, but empower you to take your game to the next level, whatever that game is, whether you're an entrepreneur or a businessman or woman or just a I don't know, whatever you want to do with life, it's going to take you to the next level. So stay tuned because we have some phenomenal information for you with my guest today. I'm not going to introduce her yet because I have to tell you that I am in Laurel, Maryland today, and it is 95 degrees. I think I woke up this morning and it was 95 degrees. I'm just saying, I went to walk my little dog and I said, Jesus, it is hot out here. I almost just passed out. So I'm encouraging you to stay hydrated. Make sure you have water. Don't leave your water in the car because it'll get hot. Yeah, don't do that. So make sure that you stay hydrated. You got to stay hydrated in this kind of weather. So thank you for doing that for me today. So my guest today is Miss Keya Neal. And the crowd goes wild. So we're so excited about Keya being here. Keya is a renowned color specialist, stylist, national educator, texture specialist, product consultant, and guest artist for several companies such as Dudley's, Affluence, Basic Hair Care, and Artiste Color. A stylist for the past 22 years and an advanced educator for the past 12 years, Keya has now launched her own brand of education, The Color Culture. Keya travels nationally to educate other stylists on how to be successful and effective colorists through hands-on and look and learn classes. Keya also mentors and coaches stylists to be able to brand themselves as true colorists and develop the color clientele. Keya, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Can I pay you?
Yeah.
I need you to do that like every day. Right? But everywhere I go, I need to go, Keya Neal. That voice, I need that. Honey, put that on. Listen, I need that clip.
When you wake up in the morning, just push play.
Keya Neal, renowned colorist, stylist, 23 years. I need that.
Oh my goodness,
I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me.
Listen, I'm excited because I want our listeners to understand that you are not just a hairstylist. I mean, you have gone beyond. That's why I really wanted to title this segment, Take the Limits Off Your Life, because in my eyes, you have taken the limits off. I mean, you have gone to another level in your business and you have taken your trade to a different level, your skill set to a different level. So tell me a little bit about color culture. How did all this begin? Talk to me about what happened here.
Okay, so, everything to me is about exposure. Now, let me say this. I was not the average, girl that woke up and knew that I wanted to do hair all my life. Surprisingly enough, that wasn't my story. Like, when I said I wanted to go to cosmetology school, everybody was like, for what? Like, you are the least of these.
Please don't.
Yeah, so I'll tell me again, why are you here?
Yeah.
And so, but when I went to a very elite school. I went to Dudley, and I think that they kind of planted the seed to me that there was always more. Like, it wasn't just cosmetology school. It wasn't just a license. There was more. There was always more. Yeah. And so from the very beginning, I knew that I had a heart for people, and I loved educating people. They always wanted to see people be better than just the average. Yeah. And that was inbred from the beginning. Like, I always knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to share. But being a cosmetologist over the years, that desire grew stronger because of just my association with people. Having a personality for people is something you can't buy.
Yes.
You can't learn.
Yes.
And so, but I do have a great relationship with people.
Yes.
And I figured out over the years that my gift was not necessarily doing hair.
Mm-hmm.
My gift is not necessarily doing color. It's my ability to translate information. Mm-hmm. It's my ability to get people to understand certain concepts that they otherwise may not be able to understand in general form.
Right.
So to me, I felt like color, how it transitioned into color specifically is because that's one of the areas that a lot of the stylists that I am in contact with do not have. They don't have that education. They don't provide that service as much. It was a stigma about color and African American hair, and it just, we didn't really, color, us and color just didn't get along.
Right,
I should just say it like that. We didn't get along. We could live in the same neighborhood but not the same house. And so we did not do that as much. And because color is such a extraordinary service, it's one of those services that can really catapult your business. I became a color focused stylist. And with that, with the education, I wanted to bring other folks with me. I wanted them to be color focused as well, and just be able to, feel like their passions could be ignited even more into another direction. And so taking something that's always kind of been like, no, I'm really afraid of color. I want my stylists to be bold. I want them to be confident in color, and I want us to start making that money. That revenue is escaping us. So I want to give us the opportunity to do that. So that's my mission.
Wow, I heard a couple of things in there. The first thing I heard was that you found an opportunity, or you saw an opportunity where you said, okay, here's a gap here.
Yes.
Between what is a myth and what is the truth.
Correct.
And so you took that opportunity, and I really hope that my listeners are tuning in, because whether you're a stylist, a hairstylist, or whether you're a CEO of an organization
Absolutely.
or a company, I want you to be able to take some of these tools that Keya is giving us today and apply them to your life. Because let me tell you, you can never, the principles are the same in whatever area you're in. So I just wanted to make sure that I grabbed that stigma and threw it out the window so that you wouldn't miss the richness of what's happening here today. So Keya,
you better say that stuff, girl. Grab that richness. Do you understand? Grab hold.
I wonder, because it is so important, and I think a lot of times we miss it because it doesn't necessarily have our name on it.
Correct. And see, here's the funniest thing about it. What we do, what I'm finding now is that we're dealing more with people in their life and other issues way before we can pour into them about color. Now that I didn't see coming. That's a whole nother animal. But, like you said, there's an opportunity when it comes to businesses, and people say, well, I want to start my business, or I want to start my brand. And some of the things we have to do is, again, identify a lack. Yes. Identify an opportunity, identify a problem.
Yes.
And we have to be, and I hear this a bit, one of my girlfriends, one of my team members, she always tells me that, our ability to solve problems kind of dictates how successful we are. And she puts it another way, but, your income is kind of ordained by your ability to solve problems. And that's really kind of has that issue. Like for me, that's the way it works. My ability to solve the problem in my industry affords me the opportunity to do what I love to do, which is educate. And so that's a big thing for me, is to be able to solve that. But that goes along anybody's business line, anybody's platform.
That is so good. What I love here is that you didn't say, I'm just a stylist and I'm just doing hair. You found other avenues to make this work for you. You said, you know what, I'm not going to just stop here. And I love that you said at the beginning that Dudley, they planted that seed in you.
Correct.
To go beyond exposure. So talk about exposure, because I think that's something that's missing, where a lot of people don't really, it's hard they're putting themselves in a box. They're limiting themselves.
That's because, the old saying goes, you know better when you do better when you know better.
Yes.
But how do you know better? You have to be exposed. Someone has to tell you, you have to see it, you have to experience, you have to walk. Something has to happen.
Yeah.
To open your eyes and for you to gain that experience and have that exposure. So what I've got a grace for that, because I realize that a lot of people, and I'm going to talk about stylists, but of course it's bigger than that.
Absolutely.
This is just this is life, period.
Yes.
But in my arena, what I realize is that a lot of the people that I come in contact with have not been exposed to what the business looks like on the other side. And not separating the two, but just in a professional way, just in, the services, basic principles about doing business, and we've developed a sort of a culture, right, that I'm working very hard to change.
Okay.
And shift.
Huh.
So, you know, a lot of that is just, it goes with, like you said, we're just changing, we're shifting, we're exposing people, we're saying, hey, let me show you what this looks like.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even if it's not obtainable at that moment, it does plant the seed of possibility.
Yeah.
And so now, where you might see a salon that's got a full chair, she's 10 chair salons, they're commissioned, they're running. I know we're kind of, you know, talking about industry specific, but at least you can see something and say, but maybe I can work towards that.
Absolutely.
And if not that, then I know there's this, and I can take these components. And having a wish list, just something to even pray about.
Yes.
And also being pliable.
Oh, now talk about that, because being pliable to me and trainable are exchangeable. They're interchangeable words.
Yes.
And so I want you to kind of expand on that, because sometimes we're so stuck in what we've been doing for the last 10 years, and we're saying, well, I've been doing this for 10 years, but you're still where you are.
Familiarity.
Yes.
Familiarity breeds contempt amongst each other, but also in your own life. Sometimes the things that you're most familiar with, you become comfortable with because that's what you know. I mean, even if better could be better, if what you're doing now, and I think I heard this in church, and I love my church, but he said sometimes people settle for what's a little bit better today because it's better than what was yesterday, but it's not the best. So sometimes just being in the better, they sit right there. They're like, well, that wasn't what I was doing yesterday, so I'm gonna stay right here. And so they don't ever really, you know, go full forward. But I feel like being open, even if you don't know what that is, being open and being pliable is key, because sometimes you'll run into people that just simply say they are a brick wall, and nothing you say will penetrate them, because the fear, the brokenness, the insecurities, all of that takes over. Yeah. And this is the part I'm talking about. We have to work through all of that before we could begin to teach you laws of color. And that's funny to me. I didn't think I'd have to do that, but I realized that people's ability to grow and change has everything to do with the heart, and not so much. You know, it does the mind too, but the mind is controlled by the heart sometimes. So therefore, when people have a hardening or a resistance and a fear, they're not able to receive anything that you're giving them. So you kind of sometimes have to go a little deeper and go, well, tell me about it. Let's put all that on the table. Let's get rid of all of that. Wow. And then we can proceed.
I love what you're saying here, Keya, and I got a chance to attend and participate in your culture camp, and I'll come back to that, because that was just good stuff, and I don't want to. I mean, I want to make sure that we stay there for a minute. I want to go back to the seed that was planted, and obviously it was good ground, because you were ready. You were ready to receive that, and I want to talk about how you actually got exposure, because I think people are getting stuck right there. When you talk about getting exposure, being exposed to more, what does that look like? What are you saying there?
Not discrediting something that might be presented to you, because the reality is, if you're praying for something and somebody brings it to you and you go, oh no, that's not it. Oh no, that's not. You know, somebody just said on a whim, you should try Dudley. Well, Dudley was like a state away. I mean, and I was, you know, like 19, like 18 or 19 when I went to cosmetology school, and somebody said, you know, Dudley's a good school. But then I had heard a lot of people say, but following through, doing your own research, being, like I said, pliable and open. Yeah. And I did something I didn't do before, which was move completely away from my family. Yeah. And say, oh, well, let's look into this school. Let's go see what it's about. And when I went, I was totally sucked in. Like, I was totally sold on the idea. Yeah. So I think sometimes, even when someone gives you, you know, a nugget and say to you, you know, Kashonna, you should do a radio show. Well, okay, that's fine if it rolls off your back like water on a duck's back. I mean, you know, if it rolls off, then you didn't really seize that. But sometimes God will send people and send signs and sends things to you. Right. And I believe that. And it's up to you to maybe follow through and just see where it will lead. But if you already discredit it and you just kind of go, oh, no, that's not it.
I realized too, Keya, that we block the blessing when we do that. We block the blessing, and because someone came to me about a radio, you know, show, and even someone said that they saw me on TV and all this. They and I was just kind of like, me, you know, I can't see it. But when you continue to hear it, and I wanna kind of talk about that, because you continued to hear it because you were open to it.
I was open. I didn't necessarily know exactly what that was going to do for me.
Yes.
I was still only looking to obtain a license to do hair.
Right.
I wasn't looking for anything more. But being exposed also has to do with being in the right arena of people, being around the right group of people, forging relationships with people, or going the extra mile to seek information about something. So if you have an idea and maybe you don't know much about it, Google is your friend, to be honest with you.
Yes.
You can sit on your internet, and look things up and see what other people are doing and see what's happening. But like you said, if people are closed off to the beginning because they can't necessarily see it right then.
Yes.
Then you don't allow anything else to manifest. So when I went to Delhi, I didn't have any idea what to expect.
Right.
So it wasn't until, they started saying, hey, come to the advanced education department. I was like, wow, this is bigger than what I could have ever conceived.
Right.
And I had this one lady, and it only takes one. This little lady, she's Miss Parson, that was my lady. And she goes, let me tell you something, girl. When I walk, you walk. When I stop, you stop. When I back up, I want to step on your toes. You understand me?
Wow.
And I was like, yes, ma'am,
wow.
I understand. And that right there, the way she loved on those people, those educators didn't let you go until you got it. Wow. That spoke to me. That spoke to something to me I didn't even know was there.
Yes.
But the exposure.
Yeah. I gotta go to this point because you talked about this before earlier. You said that you wanted to make sure that you could bring others with you. You wanted to make sure that you can bring others, and that was what Miss Parsons was doing.
Oh, yeah.
She said, when I walk, you walk. When I talk, she gave you instruction because she saw something great in you. And I think, unfortunately, we're living in a day and time where so many people are so busy trying to get above everyone else and trying to, beat everyone else. I want to get there before you get there.
I get that.
But it's good to slow down and say, you know what, I don't know everything. But what I do know, I don't mind pouring it into you. Tell me about the time where you said, okay, I need to look back and I need to make sure that I'm changing some things that are
well, let me say this, not even looking back. That was my mission from the start. So there was no looking back.
Okay.
That was always the point. So to build Keya to a point, let me say this. There was a point where I was doing great as a stylist. I had my own salon. I come from South Carolina. I had my own salon for 10 years. I had been doing hair for, 16, 17 years before I moved here. But I hit a reset button. And that reset button, I got to see so much of what I didn't know. And because I was such an open vessel, yet again, just like, hey, just give it to me, pour it to me, say it to me. I was just green. I just went back and just was green and like, give me everything. And so at that point, I knew I had an obligation to pour back into my industry, into the people that I knew were not getting that same exposure. And I had to be that vessel.
Right.
So for me, I think I can speak on both sides. Sometimes we do get caught into, we're trying to build ourselves and then we become, we have that perpetual competition. Everybody is competition. So then it becomes something else.
Right.
But okay, that's fine. McDonald's wants to beat Burger King. I get they want to sell more burgers. Okay, that's natural though. Let's say that.
Absolutely.
That's natural in business.
Absolutely.
But when you're in the business of helping people, it becomes the mission.
Yes, that's good.
It's just kind of different,
Yeah.
I can't say if I had a different type of business that competition would not be real, because it is.
Yeah.
Everybody's competing with everybody to an extent, but I think that for me, the measure of my success is how successful the people are around me.
Yes.
And the people that I can help.
That's good.
I'm only one person to be successful, but I've always had the idea, and that's just something natural in me, that I want everybody to be successful around me.
Yes.
And I'm always bringing. I do have a comma in the butt.
Okay.
Which is, I will push you, but I can't pull you. So where before I just want to help everybody. Yes, you get up. Now I'm kind of like, who wants help?
Right, that's good.
So I've shifted there too to keep me from hitting brick walls.
Yeah.
And exhausting myself in areas where people don't want to be helped right now.
Yeah.
So when they raise their hand and say, help me, then I'm all in.
That's good. So you have people who are There are some people who are Miss Parsons that'll say, "Come on and walk with me, walk behind me."
But I was there for that, though. But I was there for that. There were a lot of
up.
students that didn't come. So, yeah, they slept in.
Right.
Because it was Sunday, the day off. Make a difference. Let's make a distinction. So, the people that showed up, she said, okay, you want it. Same thing. You have to come. You had to come to Dudley.
That's good.
Dudley didn't go get you.
And sometimes, though, can it be the other way around? Sometimes do you have to go get that person? Do you have to say, you know what, can you help me?
You mean the person coming to?
The person, yes.
Do I have to go to
I have to go to that person and, no, let's see.
Or do I go to them and go, baby, you need help and I'm going to help you?
No, that's the person that Miss Parsons was. But are there times where you would have to go to her and say, can you help me?
Yeah, but then she's open because I'm still raising my hand.
Gotcha, because you're still showing up when no one else is showing up.
Different. Pushing is, we're already going in the same direction. I'm helping you go where you're already looking to go.
Okay.
You've already said verbally, your actions, everything says, Keya, I want to be a great colorist. I want to do more. I want my business to thrive. I want to change. I want to propel. That's pushing.
Yeah.
Pulling is, no, I don't know. I don't want to go. No, not now. And then I got to turn around and abort my whole mission to pull you. It takes more strength and it takes, and it's exhausting.
It is.
So sometimes we just got to know the difference. I just say, for me,
absolutely,
I want people to raise their hand. I want to identify my audience. I want to identify the need and give all of my energy to the people that want to be helped in that arena, that want to go.
That's good. That's good. We're getting ready to go to commercial break, but I have got to concur with you because that is the job and sometimes the challenge of a life coach is getting people to understand how much is in them, and sometimes we are pulling. It's hard because if I'm giving you homework and you're not doing it, or if I'm
correct,
that is so hard, and you're feeling like I see this in you,
but
why don't you come on?
Harder. But you're working harder. I think we had that conversation before.
Yes. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's a hard place to be in.
Hard.
Oh my God. All right. Let's go to commercial break. Listen, if you are just tuning in, you're tuning in with Kashonna, Holland, and Keya, Neal on Simply Shift with Kashonna, the talk show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be right back. Great afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. We are back. I am Kashonna Holland, your talk show host with Miss Keya Neal today of The Color Culture. She is blowing us out the water with all this information that she's giving us. Listen, if you are not taking notes, shame on you. Regardless of what industry you're in, she's giving us principles that will help all the way around. So make sure that you're taking this to heart and go out and do something with the information. So Keya, we left off saying, you can't pull, or you push but not pull.
That's my thing.
That's your thing.
That's my thing.
That's your thing. And so you were talking to us about that, and I want to kind of talk a little bit about the people that you've helped and how they've been impacted. If you could give us one person that was like that was ready, one person that was ready, how did that person look? Like what was it that you said, you know what, I am going to pour into this person. I'm going to make sure that they make it, and you've seen it on the other side?
Absolutely. I can think of, I had my team training yesterday.
Okay.
Yes, and I had 6 stylists. There were 5 ladies. Yeah, 5 ladies and 1 guy. And if I could say that there's at least 3 of them. All of them are phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But there's 3 that really, really, really that have that particular story exactly like that. Yeah. Like they just caught on to me. Somehow they were exposed right to me in some way, shape, or form, whether it was social media, all of them really, because it was all kind of the same way. But I got 2 that's just kind of like the little babies you kind of got in your hand, like you kind of, And so these young ladies, they just, they came in contact with me some kind of way, whether it was social media, whether it was a class, whatever. But they decided they were going to latch on and wouldn't let go. They decided that they wanted it. And and here's the thing. People will look at it and say, my team, I build my team based on who's the best. I don't. My team is not made up of the best stylists and colorists. My team is made up of strong-minded people who've committed to the process and committed to their success.
Wow.
That's who I want around.
Wow.
I want people who are saying, me, yes, me, I want it. I'll do whatever it takes. Right. I want the people that are going to stand for me and stand for the mission.
Right.
No matter where they are in their process.
Absolutely.
They give of themselves, all of them. They give of themselves continuously, but they give to me and my vision, and they bought into the vision.
Yes.
And they're using the vision to catapult their own businesses. So they become the example along the way. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So, and I have one too that I had to tell her yesterday, I'm not going to let you go. I don't care if you fight. Now that one I'm going to pull. I'm going to pull a little bit. I'm going to pull about a hair on the back of her neck because it's so much in her.
Yeah.
And I want to pull it out. And I feel like when she turns that corner, she's going to be the model for color culture because she said, I don't even know if I like color. That's how she approached me. I don't know if I like color, but I think if I'm going to like it, you're going to let me know if I like it because I'm going to take your class. And if you can make me understand it, and that's kind of how the little Spitfire went about it. And I was like, I said, chill on. It's okay.
Yes.
So then she got into it and she loved it. Then she started doing color and she started, repositioning her business and her business platform to help bring that service in, right? So she's doing all this color and she's still calling me. What do you think I need? I got a lady with sunset and I'm going to show you color and I'm going to call you every day and blow your phone up. And I'm like, decline. After a while, I declined because I realized she was using me as a sounding board for what she already knew.
Ooh.
So I'd say, trust yourself, trust process. At some point you have to trust yourself, trust process. But we're still working. But her confidence level, now we're working on the confidence.
Yes.
We're getting the theory, now the confidence comes in. And it's a whole thing. It's not just learning how to do color.
Right.
It's a mindset thing.
Yes.
It's business, it's mindset, it's the way you approach your whole business module that makes the difference. And so everybody that I'm in contact with have something to bring to the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
But more importantly, they're committed to their processes, which make them the perfect model for what I'm doing. They don't have to be the best right now. They just got to be committed.
That's good. I like that.
And that's where they are. And I love them. For every single one of them, I love them. I got those that they clean up, they set you up, they take you down, they don't care, they do it in their good clothes.
Yeah.
They fly everywhere, they don't ask you for nothing,
See,
and like to eat.
But those are the people, because let me tell you, those are the people that you want. The people who are hungry for it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's a beatitude. That they that hunger and thirst after righteousness shall be filled. So when you hunger and you thirst after something, then you're gonna get filled.
Oh yeah.
So you just gotta make sure you find the right person to cook and give you drink.
We go out. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I feel like God has been good in that arena. I feel like I pray for that because a lot of people will sometimes see something that's going good and want to use that as a platform for themselves individually. Mm-hmm. Whereas my business model is not about you, it's about helping others. So unless they have a heart for people like me, I can't really bring you around me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
It's still a ministry in itself.
Yes, it is.
And I just have to be very careful who I allow in. So where I get people, I just want to be on your team. No, you don't.
Right.
No, you want to be popular. And there's a difference.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Don't want to do the work.
Being popular and being helpful are two different things.
That's right. Oh, that's good. That's good.
I mean, so.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to shift a little bit because earlier we talked about the culture camp. Mm-hmm. And, first of all,
lost for words.
Let me tell you, I have to say this because for someone to have a vision that's so much, again, bigger than hairstyling and color, and I mean, the way you are branding yourself right now is major, Keya. It's major because the vision is so much bigger than you.
Correct.
It's so much bigger than you. So I got a chance last year Was it last year or was it this year?
It was this year. It seems so far, but it was just a couple months ago. April.
It was April.
It was just a few months ago.
Oh my goodness. It was in April. I got a chance to attend your culture camp. And tell me a little bit about culture camp.
So culture camp is a 3-day retreat that I do. Because what I understand about color is because it's such a multifaceted part of our industry. It's not something you can just get in a day. So even though you can get in a day and practice and work on it, it was much more feasible for us to do a 3-day retreat, quarantine people, eliminate the distractions, and pour into them in a lot of ways in different avenues and give them the whole perspective at one time.
Okay.
But that also, so that went from theory to doing color. How do you do it? All the principals, the owners, the company that sponsored RT's Colors, they came, the owners came.
Wow.
To who does that? I don't know, but who does that?
Yes.
They come, they pour, they bring everything, they come, they pour into him. He's been doing here for, 40-something years, and he's forgotten more cosmetology than I know, and it's awesome. We had other educators come from New Jersey. We had people coming from $1 Million Salons. We had people that came in and did branding, that are branding moguls. We had people that did natural hair, curly hair. We had everyone come in and just pour into them. But you can't get away from the spiritual part of it as well.
Yeah.
Again, there's always that part of them we have to deal with, that core of them. But otherwise, none of this is possible. None of that makes a difference if it doesn't penetrate.
That's right.
So that's when we brought you in.
Yes.
And we brought you because we had done what we call the vision mixer, my husband and I. We had done, hey, Keya.
Hey, Keya.
We had done a vision. And this is his baby, too. So I have to give credit.
Yes.
That's his baby.
Woo!
That's what he says. Let's just get them together and talk.
That's good.
And he says, just do that. And so we came up with the idea in the process of just letting people talk it out and be one with themselves.
Yes.
Because sometimes seeing it, writing it down, what do you want to do? Well, why aren't you doing it? What do you think is stopping you?
Right.
And that was successful. At least 2 times this year we did it.
Right.
But I knew that at Culture Camp it would be more than I can handle on my own. So sometimes you just got to reach out and get the professional.
Absolutely.
So I brought Miss Kashonna in, and we sat around a campfire.
Oh my goodness.
And so when you're dealing with hotels, the tissue reel doesn't look like the one you buy at the store. So 2 tissue reels later and a box of Kleenex. I think we almost baptized somebody in the water pool in the back.
Oh my God. And I have to say this because it was something that I had never experienced in terms of, I'm going to hair, what does this have to do with?
I can tell your calls. You kept saying, tell me
again. What are you trying to do here? But what I was certain about was the call that I had on my life.
Correct.
And the assignment to pour into the people that were there.
Correct.
So I think that sometimes, again, we put limits on ourselves. And I'm like, if I'm going to say I'm a speaker and I'm a life coach, does that mean that I'm just speaking in on a platform at church or in a corporate arena? Does that mean I'm just coaching over the phone or group coaching?
Right.
No, and I had been praying, God, enlarge my territory, enlarge and extend my platform. And when it doesn't look the way you think it should look,
that's it.
So I could have messed up and said,
well, you could have because you thought about it.
Yeah.
When I asked you, you said yes, but you came back corporate.
Uh-huh.
And you came back with all your papers and your emails, and I was like, I don't want that. I don't want Kashonna. I don't want
I got
that.
a process. Okay?
You do have a process. I didn't want your process. I told Janae, I said, listen, tell her, bring herself. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know. We're going to sit outside and we're going to just do it.
Yes.
I don't know. I said, tell her to bring her and the Lord and let's go. I didn't have a plan. I didn't want your process. I said, listen, this is not a Simply Kashonna event.
Right.
This is, we're trying to tap into ourselves. We want the part that's connected to God to come in and give us that experience.
Yes.
I wanted that. And I didn't know how to really say that except to just say, girl, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
just do this time.
You know what, God, but I have to say this, God met us there. God met us there, and He was there before I even got there. You know, and so when the angels go before you, you can't help but to bring what God wants you to bring and what He wants you to deliver. So even though, you know, it wasn't my norm.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? But I was willing to step out of the norm so that we could experience something supernatural.
But what if you had not? Again, we talk about being pliable. We talk about the exposure. So you know you have a brand. And sometimes, like you said, when we look at things and maybe what's presented to us doesn't look exactly like what we thought, or we can't see it, we'll block it.
Yeah.
So I say kudos to you for even coming and stepping into the unknown and just saying, okay, God, you know what, go before me. Help me in this moment, because I don't know what to expect, but I'm going to let the Spirit lead me right here.
Yes.
A lot of people will turn things down because it doesn't look like that process.
Yes. Yes.
And so when it doesn't, and I'm not saying we all should just shift, but I think we should shift enough or be pliable enough for God to use us in any arena.
Yes, absolutely.
And so you were able to do that and come forth, and you helped a lot of people that day.
My God.
20 to be exact.
Yeah.
In a matter of an hour, we had got our entire life.
Wow.
Like, I think we all were just in awe. Yeah. And it extended, even after you left, we still stayed out there another 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Just talking and sharing and breaking strongholds that were on us. Just throwing things out into the fire and letting it just go. And that's all we kept saying. People were singing, and you know, we made a joke. We said, those people at the hotel gonna put us out. We out here singing. But it was it was the cleansing that we needed.
Yes.
And the next day, even though the Spirit was great that day, that first day, the next day it was clearly different.
Wow. The shift had happened.
It had happened. People came in like, I woke up with a new mind.
Yes.
I woke up with a new feeling. I woke up with a new connection to it. I woke up, you know, feeling anew. I woke up. I'm more. I understand me more now.
Right.
And we understood each other.
Can I just say this? The thing about it, Keya, is sometimes you don't know, and you gotta trust the God in other people.
Yes.
Can I say that? Because I did not necessarily know all the but I trusted the God in you, and I trusted the vision that God had put in you. So it does pay, if you will, to have a relationship with people.
Yes.
And be able to trust what God is putting in them. So even if you don't see it, you know that they may see it.
That's true.
And the rest is history. The rest is history. I love it. I love it. Listen, if you have questions, now is your time to call 301-839-8009. Again, that's 301-839-8009. I am so excited about having Keya Neal here from the color culture. She is blessing us, and I'm telling you, this is great. If you are an entrepreneur, if you are a businessman or woman, if you are an emerging entrepreneur, you need this information, because it is imperative on any level that you're on right now. So Keya, we're talking, and I want to ask you, because you this is what you do full time.
Full time.
You are a full-time entrepreneur. Okay. So there are things that God has given you that you went on and you moved.
Correct.
What has been, or if there has been, the most fearful moment that you've had as you are moving, as you are going into uncharted territory? What is something that you were like, oh my goodness, should I do this? I mean, what kind of feeling did you have with that?
That's a great question, and it wasn't on your list.
It wasn't on my list.
It wasn't.
Make note, if you a guest on my show, I might say something that's not on the list.
Not that we talk about anything that is on the list per se in the order, but this ain't. Well, you know what? Let me think. The most fearful part of the process, maybe, of doing the color culture.
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest.
Please.
I'm gonna be very, and I know people say that, and you're like, well, weren't you honest all before?
Help the people to be honest.
But let me be honest.
Yeah.
I prayed about the color culture before I did it. I prayed a long time. It had been years in the making. I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And when it dropped, when God began to download that, there was never a doubt about what it was.
Talk to me. Okay. But talk to me about timing, because there are my listeners are out there and they're like, I wrote this down 10 years ago. I did this a long time ago. When do I move in it? Because I know that God has given it to me, but when is the right time to move?
I had that vision a long time ago. I really did. Like when I said, it was years. But one night in the middle of the night, I promise you, all of the questions that I had that I could never seem to rack my brains on, the one or two things that were missing that were stopping me from launching had been answered. And when I had that answer, it was like, go right now. Like it was never a shadow of a doubt. And I'm not going to say that everybody has to have that moment, but I hope you do, because that's the moment where you go fearlessly into something. And I can't say that I've been fearful.
Yeah.
I mean, I fall and I falter and I fail because I'm human in some areas. And I have to check myself sometimes along the way. And I have to look around me and see things that goes on around me. And I have to sometimes say, oh, Lord, please don't ever let that be me. Like, keep me humble in this. Keep me sacred in this. Keep me, keep this in my forefront. Help me. Like my husband told me the other day, he said, and this, what you're talking about right now, he said, remember that in like a year or two.
Wow.
Or remember that when you're there, remember how you felt about this.
Yes.
About somebody else. Remember that.
That's right.
So, so I mean, it's just different
catapults
things.
You.
Yeah.
Use it to catapult you. And not to stunt your growth. We have a caller, actually.
Oh.
Thank you for calling Simply Shift with Kashonna. Caller's on. Okay, can I hear you? Can you hear me? Oh, there she is. Hi there. Thank you for calling Simply Shift. That's okay. You're fine. You're fine. What?
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's your name? Just the first. Hi,
hey,
Shonda.
How are you? Good. You got a question? Yes, you do.
Oh, my goodness.
Shonda, I appreciate you. Thank you. You didn't get a chance to hear Shonda. Let me tell you a little bit about Shonda while I got her on the line.
Okay.
Shonda was the most quiet during when you were there at camp. And she tried to leave. And she kept tiptoeing. She said, okay, I'm going to go. She was local, so she didn't stay at the hotel. And I said, no, Shonda, come on back and talk. And we pulled her back. And Shonda was her most authentic self that I'd ever seen.
Wow.
And at that point, she had said, like, I want you to be my mentor, but I didn't connect with it at the time, early on.
Right.
It wasn't until she surrendered to that moment, and she was her most authentic self, that I understood more about her and what she thought was the worst thing she could say. It was the best thing she could have said.
Yes.
Because I connected with that. Not out of, I've been there, but just, it was the authentic person that was speaking at that moment.
Yes.
And I knew she needed me, and I knew she could help me.
Oh, wow.
I needed her, and she needed me. And there was an exchange at that moment. She didn't even know it.
See.
So thank you, Shonda.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Yes.
You blessed us real good. I'm so glad that I want to kind of talk about that authentic place, because a lot of us are guarded and we don't want to show people our authentic place. And let me tell you, the thing that can keep you from taking the limits off your life is not being authentic. Is kind of this facade, like everything is good, everything is okay. And I tell people all the time, listen, what I want you to see, I will post it. But that's what I want you to see. You understand what I'm so you have to understand that there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And so people think you just kind of wake up and you're just awesome. You awesome know, every day. I mean, every day I got buns and stuff, yeah, you know, and cook. Come on, but when you sit down and talk to me, I can tell you the story.
Well, let me say this. I did a live one day, and it just had occurred to me in this live that people get caught up in the highlight reel.
Yes.
And this is an intentional peek into our lives. We only put out what we want you to see, and that's good.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's twofold to that.
And you shouldn't be. Yeah.
But what I tell people is, yes, when my son plays football, he might have 100 plays recorded, but he's only going to pull out the 10 where he looked, where he was thriving. He ain't going to show when the person got past him or somebody tackled him or he didn't get the tackle or he missed the tackle. Girl, you know, I'd be mad about that. But he might only show the 10 and put music to it and make it look really, really good. And then the coaches are like, you're awesome, yeah. But they know for a fact that for every 10, there's another 90 that's on the floor.
Yeah.
That's what we call the B-reel. That's the edited version.
Yeah. Oh my
That's
God.
the pieces of our life that you have to subscribe to. Like, remember when we bought albums, and I said this on the scope, like, when we bought an album, you got the radio played the release.
Yes.
They played the best 2, 3, 4 songs off of the album.
Uh-huh.
But the B-side or the rest was you had to buy the album to get it. So I kind of feel like that about my life. Like, you can get the highlight reel. Anybody can get the highlight reel. But if you want the B-reel, you kind of got to subscribe to my life. You got to be a little more than casually invested with me.
That's good.
Just a little bit. We got to sit down in a moment and be able to talk about that. Then you can get my B-reel. But I'm not going to be on Facebook just going, yeah, you know what? I'm just not feeling it.
Exactly.
I'm not doing that.
And you know what? When people going through their own stuff, they don't want to, you know, I want to encourage you. I want to lift you up. I don't want to just drag you down. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe our time is winding up.
No,
I know there is something here that you want to say about finding harmony. Finding work life, I call it harmony. Some people call it balance, but I call it harmony because, it doesn't matter why I think I call it harmony. I want you to tap into how you balance or how you find harmony in your work, your family, your spiritual life. What do you do?
I was going to ask you. I was hoping you was going to answer. No, but for real, you know what? People usually use, I like your word harmony because it definitely to me replaces balance.
Right.
Because you never really get balance. To me, you never really obtain it. You just work for it. You just work towards it at all times, and it is hard. But I'm gonna be honest. I find that in order for me to have it all, I have to speak to what's most important to every part of that pie. It's like a pie, and I have to give so much amount of time and energy to each part of that pie, each part of my life in that pie.
Yeah,
and so I have to give the best part to that. So like, let's just say, take for granted my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he and I have not done a great job so far of carving out that time, but we're now focusing on that and saying, okay, no, we need date night regardless. There has to be a time where we're not talking about business and we're talking about us. There has to be that moment. We have to be intentional about that.
Yeah.
So when it comes, like my children, well, one plays sports. Well, do you want me to be home every day and take you to and from practice, or do you want me to show up for the game?
Right.
Okay, so where I might have to work here, but I'll come to the game.
That's good. That's
you see
good.
What I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So when it comes to the baby, like he has. Okay, I may not be the one that actually get you from school every day or walk you or go to McDonald's and play every day, but I'll make I'll make most of the mommy, kid events at school.
Right.
We'll go to Dave and Buster's like you like on Saturday, or we'll do certain things. And so I make moments and make them great in every area. Now, I may not be 100% in every one, but the top 10 or 20, I try to give my best in those areas and what's important, especially to those people, like my family.
I want to kind of talk about this really quickly, but I think you communicate.
Well, that's key.
Like you said, you and Keith talked about, we need to make date night intentional. You talk to your son about practice versus the game. You talk to your child about, do you want me to do this? So communication is key in terms of giving harmony.
I think understanding what's important to each person around you.
Yeah.
And I think that's understanding their language of love. And someone brought to my attention, that's not just about a man and a woman. That's about everybody around you.
Yes.
So when I say to my job, even my salon job, Okay, you guys know I'm not going to be here every day.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, here's what I can do. I can commit to this, 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 and this. Will this work for you? And then we come to an understanding about what they can expect from me and what I can expect from them. So now we're good.
That's good.
When it comes to traveling, I might say, I'll reconcile, I'll send out, like you said, there's a process. So if I'm traveling doing a class, I might say, don't fly me too early on Saturday because I want to wake up with my kids on Saturday.
Right.
I want to have a chance to do blah,
that's
blah,
good. That's
blah,
good.
blah. So if I'm not needed until this time, don't bring me until this time. But it's being intentional.
Yes.
And having communication with everyone so that everyone is on the same page.
Yes.
And not spreading myself so thin. That's the one thing that I do, because sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, life is.
But life, period. You add on when I just don't feel like it. You know, add that in. I need to schedule my breakdown. So sometimes I want to just break down and fall out and
come on.
You know, I want to have my moment. So sometimes I might have to schedule. I'm gonna go. Okay, so Tuesday.
Yes. Between 12 and 5.
Between 12 and 5, before I have to pick the youngin' up from school, I want to have me a breakdown.
Yes.
I want a meltdown. I want to cry. I want to be in my space, whatever that is.
Yeah.
But I have to schedule that sometimes, you know, because you got to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and be ready at 5 o'clock for the next round.
That's right.
But
that's right.
I'm just intentional about what I do with my time.
That's good. That's
and
good.
I don't hold in, and I don't allow anybody else to put pressures on me or expectations or give me a measuring stick that they provide. And that's another big thing. Sometimes people want to tell me, oh, you're not doing this or you not home enough. You don't know. I take care of my home. We good.
That's right.
My home is good.
That's right.
You don't get to decide what's good enough.
Come on.
You don't get to speak on that because that's
gracious.
my family and my life. So I've tuned out the chatter, if you will.
Yes.
From
that's
people,
good.
which can further, you know, bring a lot of stress on you.
Yes.
So I've learned to kind of turn my miracle air off to people, you know, with the chatter. And I figured that if you're not helping, you're hindering because the boos come from the cheap seats.
Yes.
The only time I hear you is when you're on the court with me.
Oh.
So I leave people out of that a lot.
Did
so
y'all hear that?
I'm clear.
The boos, the people who are booing you come from the cheap seats. The only people we listening to are the ones who are on the floor with us.
Courtside, baby.
Courtside. I'm just saying.
The people that are invested.
You got
the most money that's by the court,
baby. Come on, because you got a whole lot of talk at a nosebleed. Anyway, so okay.
Yeah, so
so here we go. Your favorite book to our listeners.
Should I say for real? They're gonna think I'm kidding.
That's okay. Come on.
But in this season, when we did Culture Camp,
yes,
we discovered a book called Simply Shift in 7 Days. And I'm not just saying that. And I promise, I knew when I thought about it, I was like, you know what? They're going to think I'm just playing around. I'm just saying that. But I say that because it speaks to so many. What it does is it gives an authentic version of you. It's kind of like the highlight reel to the top, but it's the be real on paper.
Yeah.
And I get that because it speaks to people in so many different arenas. And by far, it's the one book that we read it as a group.
Yes.
And everybody kind of kept coming on the phone like, I don't think I can talk tonight. Like, they just kept going, not tonight.
Oh my God.
I'm too emotional tonight about it. Like
So in case you haven't she's talking about my book, 7 Days to Simply Shift.
Yes.
And actually in her group, they did a book club.
Yeah, we did the book club.
And they conference called.
Yes.
And so I
emailed her. I texted her and I said, you should really get on this call because it was the first one. We'd read the first chapter. I think this is the first chapter.
Yeah.
Or maybe two. Maybe the first chapter. And it was so profound. Everybody was going, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, girl, you just don't know. But by the second or so, everybody kind of had that, I'm just too emotional today. Like, for real. Like, not today.
Wow.
You know, and it was just a lot. But we appreciate you.
Oh my God.
For that. And I'm not just saying that because I read a lot. You know, I don't read as much as I want to right now, but that was the one book that we did read as a group, and I found that it was so profound. It was an eye opener, and it was a cleansing for everyone to really see that we're all the same.
Yes.
To a certain degree, we all struggle with some of the same things.
Yes.
And it's okay to have issues. It's okay, but what I like is that you relate it to things that everyone can can relate to. Kind of like what I do.
Yeah.
So when you talk about your daughter in certain instances, then you take that moment, which we all have if we have children.
Yes.
And then you take that and say, oh, but this is how that relates to our life and how we function, how we think. And that's what people need. They need to be able to own the information and be one with it.
That's good.
And
that's
good.
That. Oh my God. Okay. So we're closing up.
Yes.
People need to know, Keya, how to get in contact with you. They need to know where they can find you, what you're doing next. Just kind of share all of that information.
Okay. So real quick, you can find me at best@colorculture.com. That's KULTURE.
Okay.
That's too many K's. So
Culture. Okay. Okay.
And you can find me at Keya Artistically on Facebook.
Okay.
You can find me at Keya_Artistically on Instagram.
Okay.
And Color Culture for everything else. That's Twitter, that's Periscope, that's anything else you need.
And we'll make sure we put that in the
we'll make sure we put that in.
Okay.
If you want to follow, if you're a stylist and you want to follow me, just hit me up and I can put you in my private group. I have a stylist only group.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Awesome. Yeah, and this is where we do a lot of our mentoring, our coaching, our sharing. This is where you can ask the good questions. This is where we talk about things that we don't want everybody else to see.
That's
here.
Good.
That's the safe place.
Yes.
And so that's the Color Culture group. You can just inbox me for that.
Mm-hmm.
If you are at hair shows, we'll be at Bronner Brothers, we'll be at Pro Beauty, we'll be in Mentorship Miami. And then of course we have another culture camp coming up in November 6th through 8th. Yeah, it kind of forced my hand. The first one was so successful, everybody kept saying you gotta do it again. So
that's amazing.
We're gonna do a culture camp.
How do they get registered for that?
So they can go online and they can look and get all the information. If you want to talk about it, if you have any questions or concerns, I answer all my emails. If I don't answer my email, the person that's answering will say she's not me, but she's answering the email. And but that's important. You don't want anybody ghostwriting for you. So, but I do try to do as much, interaction and giving you the nit and the grit. So you can talk to me, but you can pay and make a deposit for your registration online. It's all good.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you for being here. I am so excited to have my sis, my friend, Miss Keya Neal.
Awesome.
Listen, you have been listening to Simply Shift with Kashonna, the talk show. Thank you so much for joining us. And listen, don't let this be your last Monday. Make sure you join us next Monday. That's August the 1st, I believe. Ooh, the first day of August at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Connect with me by going to www.simplykashonna.com. I'll be more than happy to have you to subscribe to the email list, find out what we have coming up. In the meantime, I'll see you next time.
Bye. That's awesome. Good job. You are so good. You are so good at this.
Oh, thank you so much.
You are so good.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Let me find out you're going to be the next Oprah.
Come on.
Oprah, let me ask you a question.
Facebook Live. Did y'all enjoy yourself? I mean, we got so many awesome comments. People are joining here. And I thank y'all so much for joining. Listen, these were some key principles to your business. Whatever business you're in, I hope that you were empowered today to go out and make a difference in your business. Don't forget to be open, be trainable, be teachable. Allow someone to pour into you. If you see someone that you want to pour into you, grab a hold of them and say, help me. But make sure that you follow instruction and do what they're asking you to do, because the main key to your shift is obedience. God bless you.
All right. There's a difference between a coach and a mentor.
A coach and a mentor.
Look it up.
Look it up.
Mentorship can be done. You don't even have to know that person. You just have somebody that inspires you, that's doing what you want to do. You can look them up.
That's good.
Coaching, on the other hand, is someone who's a little more hands-on and they're helping you be accountable. So figure out, don't interchange the two, because then your expectations of those people are different.
Nice.
Okay?
I like that.
All right, bye,
y'all.
God bless.